Welcome to the last week of our Lenten pause for 2021. Lent ends tomorrow at sundown. Our psalm this week is found on page 788 of Voices United. I wonder how God will speak to us today through the text that we are about to hear. And our first reading is from the book of Isaiah in the Hebrew Scriptures, chapter 50, beginning at verse 4. God has given me the tongue of a teacher, that I may know how to sustain the weary with a word. Morning by morning God wakens my ear, to listen as those who are taught. God has opened my ear, and I was not rebellious. I did not turn backwards. I gave my back to those who struck me, and my cheeks to those who pulled out the beard. I did not hide my face from insult and spitting. God helps me. Therefore I have not been disgraced. Therefore I have set my face like flint, and I know that I shall not be put to shame. The one who vindicates me is near. Who will contend with me? Let us stand up together. Who are my opponents? Let them confront me. It is God who helps me, who will declare my guilt. All of them will wear out like a garment. The moth will eat them up. Next we will hear a passage from Paul's epistle to the Hebrews, chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. The example of Jesus. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witness, let us also lay aside every weight and sin that clings so closely. Let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith, who, for the sake of the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such hostility against himself from sinners, so that you may not grow weary or lose heart. And today's psalm is Psalm 70. It is a psalm for the deliverance from enemies, found on page 788 in Voices United, and the refrain is refrain 2. Hasten to help me, O God. O favor me, God, and save me. Hasten to help me, O God. Let those who seek my life be put to shame and confusion. Let those who desire to hurt me collapse in dishonor. Let those who mock my humiliation stumble at their own disgrace. But let all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Let those who long for your saving help be ever ready to say, God is great. Hasten to help me, O God. As for me, I am poor and needy. O God, come quickly to my aid. You are my help and my deliverer. O God, do not delay. Hasten to help me, O God. Our gospel passage today comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 13, beginning at verse 21. Jesus foretells his betrayal. After saying this, Jesus was troubled in spirit and declared, Very truly I tell you, one of you will betray me. The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So while reclining next to Jesus, he asked who it is. Jesus answered, It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish. So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew why he said this to him. Some thought that because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he immediately went out, and it was night. The new commandment. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once." I wonder, which passages of Scripture just heard holds most meaning for you today? I wonder, which of the images, phrases you truly heard for the first time today?